Forbes India presents M Connect, powered by Marmo Solutions.
Hello and welcome to M Connect, celebrating architectural excellence and innovation. I'm Radhika Sinha, and today we are exploring a deeply personal side of design, one that asks, who are you and how does that shape what you build? Our theme today is the architecture of identity, a conversation about memory, culture, and the unique journeys that leave a signature on every line, form, and space. Joining us are three incredible architects from the architecture designer fraternity whose work speaks not just through materials but through meaning, where every project carries piece of who they are. So let's welcome Manish Kumat, principal designer at Manish Kumat Design Cell. He's from Indore. He founded his firm with a vision to create lasting spaces that uplift lives and the environment. Committed to sustainable, durable design, he draws inspiration from nature, believing the greatest designer is God. Next, we have Manish Gulati, founding partner and architect at Mofa Studios. He's from Delhi and his work ranges from homes to major institutional and hospitality projects, and the firm champions bold contemporary design rooted in context, sustainability, and innovation. And last, we have Shilpi Sonar, founder and designer at Shilpi Sonar Creations. She is from Raipur, and for over 35 years, Shilpi Sonar has transformed the design landscape of Chhattisgarh through her firm, Creations. With over 3,500 projects spanning homes, public buildings, and institutions, her work blends warmth with purpose, shaping lifestyle and design across central India. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, let me start with a simple one. And this question remains common to all three of you. When someone looks at your design, what do you hope they feel or understand about you as a designer and an architect?
I take the things.
Yeah.
So basically, Radhika, we are a boutique practice. We do small projects and we take a lot of pride in doing these small and private projects. And over a period of time for last 32 years, the practice has evolved. And the thing which, the single element which differentiates our practice is simplicity, simple lines, and design turning into timelessness. So we are trying to build something which connects to timelessness. Every time when we try to do something, we think that whether the things would last or not. The materiality, the context, the light, the ventilation, simple basic things are taken care of. And we believe that nature is the biggest inspiration for us. So every space which we design tries to connect with nature, and the timelessness is achieved by this connect, and the material palette remains absolutely simple. The projects are designed in such a way that there is no artificial lighting required throughout the day. The cross ventilation happens properly. The need of air conditioning is minimized. So basically, just this simple thought of trying to bring in nature in forms of courtyard or other things, makes the project simple with organic material palette and results into timelessness.
Well, that's great. And what about you, Shilpi?
So, hi, I'm for my design language. Basically, if a person looks at my design and he wants to relate me to what I am in my field, so the thing that he would really say about me would be dynamism, flamboyant, and of course very regal. So that is what is my style of working. And of course, since all my life I've been designing residences and homes and making their life beautiful, giving them an upliftment in their lifestyles also. So that is what people will think about me.
Well, that's a great combination, regal and flamboyant.
Yes.
And what about you, Manish Gulati?
I think I'm going to answer your question in a slightly different way. And I'll take you back to where my identity is, since it's all about architecture and identity. I come from Delhi. I mean, Delhi is a city historically which has always been disrupted. So I am a non-conformist. And my design language is bold. And that's something that one is always dealing with. And that historical context and identity is what shapes my work always. So one is always creating something which does not conform to the beliefs that are already existing. The idea of questioning what is existing to form something new, to look at the future, because one is always wanting to look at the future and create a language that will form the identity for the future is something that I always look at.
Well, that's a lovely thought to carry forward. Now let's dig in deeper. Manish Kumat, have you ever had a moment where your personal cultural values have clashed with what a client has wanted? And how has that situation helped you in your journey, and how did you deal with that situation?
So basically, in the type of practice which I am into, we have clients who come with different backgrounds, with different exposures, different cultural exposures, and usually when they come, so they have an aspiration, they have a dream, and at times that dream does not match with the context of the project. It happens. So in those conditions, there is always a dialogue. First, we try to understand the client. We go into the depth where it comes from. What is the source of those kind of inspirations, how they come, and after hearing him completely, then we initiate a dialogue with him that why, that whole thing may not be, in sync with the context of the project. Maybe for example, if I want to quote you, there was this one project which was a home which we were doing for an industrialist in the heart of the city, and it was a small project, 3,500 square feet on a road which was maybe perhaps 9-meter road, and he was looking, his aspiration was to have a design which was inspired by Greece and Rome, and with all those kind of elements coming onto it. So it was a very different context to the adjoining surrounding, and then there was a lot of a dialogue process which went. I would say that the whole dialogue must have gone for a week, wherein we explained him that why this aspiration may not be suitable for that particular context. At the end, we also told him that you sleep with this thought, think it over, and then let us meet again, rather than bluntly saying, boss, this will not work. So it was a dialogue, it was a communication which went, and then after a week when we sat, so there was some middle way which was evolved. So somewhere, the exterior spaces and the interior spaces were discussed independently, and a path was evolved wherein his aspiration was also fulfilled, and also my idea of trying to do something which is modern, minimalist, Indian in character was also retained. So it was an interesting conversation which evolved, which finally, culminated into something which was opt for a context.
Now, Manish Gulati, coming to you, you can mix mythology and modern design very well. So do you remember a particular story or a memory that has inspired a design style?
Nobody's ever asked me this question before. I want to go back to my childhood. My dad, he was a great storyteller. And when I was a kid, he would recite me stories from Mahabharata, Ramayana, Panchatantra, various characters, and not just the standard story that we hear. He would give me various versions of them. So when I was a kid, we would do character analysis of every character in Mahabharata, their individual story, subtext. I grew up to that. And somehow it just got so deep into the subconscious, I didn't even realize it myself. After architecture, you'll study modern architecture, you forget your antecedents and your roots sometimes. Come to today's context. I was doing a project in Goa, which is National Institute of Water Sports. It's one of the largest parametrically done project in the country. It's a 40,000 square feet of roof area, which is a sort of a wave, like a cloud. We were going to construct that. And at a government scale, the contractor at that point said, I don't have the mechanical means to do a digital fabrication. And if you understand what is digital fabrication, using sophisticated machines, which in the West, they use very sophisticated sort of CNC machines, cutters, all of that to do that. He didn't have those resources. And it came to a standstill. Somehow a vision flashed in my head at that time. And it was a vision which my dad told me, and it was a story which you must know, of Bhishma Pitama lying down on the bed of arrows. And his head was tilted. And he said, my head is, it's not in the balanced position. And that's when Arjun comes in and he shoots another arrow and balances the head. And that's Arjun's dilemma. And that is the same dilemma I was facing that time. And I looked at the contractor. I said, you have so much of waste reinforcement on site. Why don't we use those pieces of reinforcement to prop up and create that roof? You know, you have to understand, when you do a curved roof, you have to have props. So we used all the waste reinforcements. To me, those reinforcements looked like arrows, like a bed of arrows. And we were able to compile and make that roof, literally, I'm not kidding, at 1/3 the cost of what it was anticipated. So not only did we use that wastage, but that connection somehow helped me sort of put it all together. And subconsciously, I always use it. Some story or the other, or some anecdote somewhere from the other, it always comes into the memory. And it creates a very different kind of an architectural approach every time.
Wow, that's really fascinating how you bring stories to life through your designs. And Shilpi, looking back, have you ever felt like an outsider in a design space? Maybe because from where you come from, your values, your design, or maybe even for your gender. And how did you shape your voice as a designer?
So that's again a very lovely question, because this all started 35 years ago when I came from Nagpur. And I was appointed as a consultant to Larsen and Toubro. That was a cement industry which they were putting up at Raipur. Raipur at the time was Madhya Pradesh. It was not even Chhattisgarh, right? Working with a multinational company and with, you know, people from the globe was not very difficult, Radhika, because they understood the, they were not, worried about what your gender, or they only added, you know, your caliber was very important for them. So I did that project for almost 5 years, and that was a huge thing which actually added to my, because I was the youngest consultant to them, so that was really very huge. But when I started to work in Raipur, that was a major challenge, because this was a government, this was a multinational company project, so it went off very well. 5-6 years down the line, things were so smooth, and you know, I felt as if I was in cloud 9. But then when it actually came to the grounds, when I had to create the same thing in Raipur, it was hazardous, and it was, you know, it actually was, I was blown off, because people did not recognize my caliber. They always thought, ye mahila kya karegi. So that was something, you know, which I had to really cut down to, because they never felt that I was doing such, because they were not interested even knowing ki aapne pehle what have you done. They were only interested that how they would ward me off. So it became so difficult for me to, pace up with the entire situation. But slowly, Raipur also built up, because it became the capital of Chhattisgarh. And then this entire transformation came into being, and people started accepting me as a whole, as, you know, an individual who would want to, you know, create something beautiful for them. Making my mark in this industry was not at all easy for me. It was very, very difficult. But then whatever I could do, I could shape up, and I gave a lot to this place. And I was the pioneer in interior designing at that time, because there were a handful of architects and civil engineers only working there. There was nobody as such who would shape up their interiors. And so I took up that as a challenge for myself, and, you know, I really paved my path my way, because I never had a godfather or anybody to look upon to, because at that time nothing was there in our palette. We had to do everything ourselves. We did not have the social media thing. We did not have any exposure, any experience also. Only that experience of the multinational did not really help me here. But only I knew how to deal with the people working there. But working up with all the challenges that came from the people of a small state was really to be, taken care of. So it was tough, but I made it.
Well, it was tough, but you definitely made it. 35 years is not a short span of time. And it's very inspiring how, you faced those challenges and came out stronger. And Manish Gulati, coming to you, when do you know how much to stick to tradition, and when do you feel that, let's shake things up?
I'm always shaking things up. but down to the core of it, the spirit is always, which is tradition, it's rooted in tradition. So we do projects all over the country, and they're large projects, they're institutional, public buildings. It's the identity of that place and that context that matters a lot. So the traditions and the context of Goa are different from traditions and context of Himachal. And this is, it is not the design language per se that we are always so concerned about. My whole quest is always what lies in the DNA of the design. So tell you a story about NIFT campus at Kangra. Now, it's on a hill. We wanted to do this campus. When we got this project, it was all about a site which is beautiful, looks at Dhauladhar Hills. It's got more than 100 trees on it, including mango trees and silver oaks and everything. We decided not to cut a single tree. Now that comes from the value of a traditional, how the village grows, where first the trees are there, you create the paths, the houses slowly come up in a way of respecting nature. To me, the design language is a result of construction. So if a vernacular language is made, it is made in a certain time period due to certain materials and technology available at that time. When we're building today, you can change the material, you can change the technology, but that spirit of the place is what should get imbibed in the design. So for NIFT campus, we designed it like a mini village. It's not like a large building, it's not a lot of glass or multi-story. We built only a ground floor structures, ground or ground plus one. We built internal streets, almost like a Himachali village. We didn't cut the land, we used the hill the way it was. We let the water conservation, the way water flows in the streets during the rains, we let that happen. We did not block the waterways. So we respected nature, we worked with it in a way of creating that mini village. And today, I'm quite proud to say that when I went back and I saw the students using those spaces, they have a sense of identity. They call the ramp that we created the Shimla ramp. They have another name for another plaza. So it is a conglomeration of these mini villages of Himachal Pradesh, which has come together into a modern campus of fashion design. Now, these two things are not relatable, but the spirit is relatable because NIFT campus in Himachal is in Himachal. So a NIFT in Mumbai would be different, or a NIFT in Gandhinagar is different. But here, because it was imbibed in Himachal Pradesh, it has the spirit of the villages of Kangra. And to me, that is tradition.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it must be very difficult, challenging task to take care of so many things, especially because tradition also carries so much weight, right? And Shilpi, let's talk about the little details. Any material or craft or a design element that speaks, as your signature style.
My style is basically very classical. So I use a lot of wood, I use a lot of steel, I use a lot of stone, I do a lot of inlay works. I'm also called a woman of golds because I do a lot of gold leafing work also. Earlier there used to be, I have invented so many other things also in these design regards. I'll just give an example. At the time, wood, of course, was there prevalent. Now it is little, things are getting different now. People are using different material. But at the time, CP wood, those central province wood was also very much prevalent in those areas of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. So the client wanted me to make a dining table which looked like a dragon of a feng shui, thing. So I actually carved in the entire thing in that log of wood. And it became a mantelpiece for them. People would love to come and see what has been done to that place. So such small things are there in my life which actually gave me a remarkable attention from others. And people keep, if they say ki haan Shilpi ma'am ka kaam hai, to they will say, okay, this is her work. So that is very much there with me.
Well, I think it's very important to have your signature style, and I'm sure all three of you have your own signature style, right? And Manish Kumat, coming to you again, have you ever, do you see your identities in your building space? Maybe while you're designing it or much later, when do you see your identity?
So I always feel, Radhika, that design evolves. Maybe if I look back 32 years back, so my design was trying to please people. My design was trying to, fulfill their egos, and I was just like flowing because it was also a journey of struggle where we were trying to sustain. But then the game changer happened. Sometimes in 2008, I had an opportunity to visit Sri Lanka. I had an opportunity to visit and see the projects of architect Geoffrey Bawa, and the whole thought process got challenged. So I think that actual identity started evolving after 2008, when I felt that design can happen even without the kind of opulence, the kind of materiality which we have been using. Washrooms can happen without tiles, five-star hotels can happen without expensive Italian marbles, and still that experiential quality of a space was there. So it made me think that what is important when you enter into a space, and the space, and you all of a sudden from inside your senses gets transformed, and you feel, wow, something changes dramatically inside. So I call these spaces as sensory spaces. So it is very important. Design has such a profound impact that it can create sensory spaces without using all those expensive materials, without using imported furnitures and all those things.
And it's actually great, how architecture can actually become like a mirror.
Right.
So now, before we wrap up this conversation, one quick response from the three of you to this question: how do you ensure that your identities, your designs are spread across cultures without you losing your identity? Let me start with you, Manish Gulati.
Losing without my own identity is a very loaded question. I learned long ago while I was in architecture college, and this was an internal struggle that went through when it was way back in the 90s, where we were taught modern architecture. We were taught that architect is always on the top of the food chain of architecture or design. We were always taught that it's the masters who create the architecture and the world follows. And that is an idea that I was never very comfortable with. To me, an architect means part of the society, part of an ecosystem. It's not about just human-centric design. It's about eco-centric design, where not just the humans, but even the insects, bees, birds, the whole ecosystem is respected and taken care of. So when I say my identity, it is not important. What is important is the overall identity of the place, of every life that it imbibes inside, whether it's a human life or it's any other life, flora, fauna, whatever you want to call it. And that goes in every project. So that's why I don't have a signature style. I don't follow a signature style. Because the moment you create a signature style, you're putting a very egocentric stamp on your design. And that's something I've never been comfortable with.
Well, that's a great perspective. And what about you, Shilpi?
I feel as an individual, there has to be a style statement to your work, because otherwise you can't be, out of the box. For a person to carry something forward, there has to be a focus on what design style that you are giving to the masses. So for me, I think that is a little different, which I feel is like I always go with my style, and the palette definitely varies. I give a lot of variety, but then that fusion thing which I do is with the modern and the classical blending. That is something which I look upon to, and that is actually appreciated by the masses, for whoever is my person who comes to work with me.
Well, absolutely, you must stand out. And what about you?
So Radhika, of late I am working on Indianness. Now this is a word which carries a lot of importance to me, because in these times of Pinterest and Insta and Facebook and social media, most of the times the homes, they look like, whether it is in US or whether it is UK, the rooms, whether it is here in Mumbai or whether it is in Paris, they all look same. So where is the context? Where is the Indianness? So this made me think that let us try to revive the art and craft of the country. Let us try to play with them. Let us try to reinterpret the art and craft of the country, use them in modern contemporary interiors, try to do things in a minimalist way. And I am now trying to evolve this complex matrix of Indianness, contemporary, modern and minimalist fused together to cater to the modern living of the society, but at the same time you can proudly say that yes, the design has a lot of Indianness into it.
Well, that's great. We are actually fortunate to have such brilliant designers and architects in our country, and it was lovely talking to you all three of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, each of our guests today has shown us how architecture can be more than just structure. It can be a reflection of identity, a bridge between tradition and change, and a story told in form, texture, and space. Thank you for joining us as we explore how deeply personal the act of designing can truly be. I'm Radhika Sinha signing off. You've been watching M Connect, celebrating architectural excellence and innovation.
Forbes India presents M Connect, powered by Marmo Solutions.